When you see an action film and you see all these different cuts and all these angles and all this stuff happening, the entire thought behind it was we wanted to make you feel like you were part of the war.
Action!
The guys that are being used today own their own uniforms. They're reenactors. This is what they do for kicks. This is what they do for fun. They run around doing the war over and over and over again, dying over and over and over again.
I have a ton of respect for reenactors, for what they do, and their passion.
I mean, it was really demanding. Long hours, 16-hour days, scene after scene after scene. So they were on their toes the whole time.
Bloody guy, I forget your name?
Chris.
Right, bloody guy.
Billy! Get a life! We called the dog, Indiana. Well, John. That's not even good Sean Connery. It's not even fake good Sean Connery.
Is that your son then?
Yes, it is. He's playing Jarvis Hanks. It's the first time he's been on a movie shoot, and then to arrive and find that he isn't going to be drummer number 2 in the credits, that he's actually playing a named character. It's fascinating. Oftentimes we'll have a visitor to a reenactment at an historic site, and we'll say, oh, what brought you out today? And they'll say, oh, I saw this thing on PBS. They see the film, then they come out and they see a Living History weekend, and they're sold.
Jim, where would you like this gentleman?
I'd like him to lay down right in that area. He can lean on the pole.
Yeah, up on the hill.
We're not shooting with video lenses. That depth of field, they're going to go in and out of focus. That's going to add a lot of chaos because your eye will not know where to be focusing.
Working with Jimmy's great because he's such an active mind, and he's got such a great eye.
You need
the chaos.
Yeah.
He's got a great feel for what you show and what you don't show. It's about both of those things.
We didn't want it to look like a lot of the other historical documentaries. 13-year-old boy, a battle-weary surgeon, these are guys who are burnt out well before their time. I didn't want the pictures to be sterile. I want them to be dirty, to be ugly, to be confusing. And I think it makes some really interesting art and real interesting images.
Action! Now!
Every single shot I've ever seen Jimmy give with the camera is something you want to frame, is something you want to put on the wall. He makes art for documentary, and the way to do that is not to pan and zoom and tell a story through the movement of the camera. It's to tell a story through the framing of the camera. And it's in the editing, and it's in the storytelling, and it's in the writing that those images get put together.
It's been an experience for me. I've never been on a film shoot before.
How do you like it?
Oh, it's fascinating, and it astounds me that it takes so long. It takes as long to set up 30 seconds as it does to watch an entire theatrical production on stage.
We had Jennifer Robb in wardrobe, and we had a couple of makeup artists, Louise McIntosh and Sue Upton. Not only were they able to give us the realism of the horrors of the war, they were also able to give us the historical accuracy.
Cut! Cutting. Can we get a little more smoke on that corpse?
Yeah. Because this is historical reenactment, there's not a lot of makeup, the way people think of makeup. Blood and gore, character makeups.
We're going to need blood on the surgical handles.
That's right, yeah.
And also a bowl with a bloody rag and with bloody water.
Do you have fuller's dirt?
I have Plains dust. I don't use fullers.
Okay.
Uses it anymore.
Okay.
It's dangerous.
It's dangerous. Okay, great. Okay. It's been a rough battle. There was a lot of burns, a lot of smoke where the guys have breathed it in.
and then they go through the wardrobe process afterwards.
What I do is just make sure that for the scene changes, they're in the correct thing, that they're dirtied up a little bit so they don't look all shiny and new. Or actually my main role, I think, is chief button sewer on her, because they tend to lose lots of buttons.
We were really fortunate to have Peter Twist working with us. Here's someone who's done so many films for Hollywood. He's done work for PBS. He knows military history. He knows social history.
Instead of falling backwards, fall forwards.
Okay. Fall forward?
Yeah.
If he's taking a hit in the
Buckle
chest,
to my knees.
Depends where you get hit.
Yeah. If he gets hit in the stomach,
You
he
get
falls
hit
forward.
low, you go forward.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
More of a, you know, it's.
Yeah, there you go.
He did all of our casting for our characters, and then he also got all the reenactors together for us. And he also, he kept us honest. It'd be a case of, well, Peter, do you think we can get away with this? He goes, no, because there's going to be somebody out there in the audience that's a historian that knows that that button would never appear on that uniform. I mean, he's so detail-oriented.
Action!
You know, I hate the term reenactors because these guys are really actors. They really are. You know, they give a performance.
What happened was, as the British were storming the fort, the British, once they got inside, had turned a cannon around to fire on the Americans. And although it's not proven, this is the major theory, that when that cannon went off, it was a spark that went down through the cracks in the wood and went into the magazine that was below.
Get the hell out of the way, there's going to be shit flying. So you're going to duck in your cover and you're just getting the hell out, laying down on the ground. Okay?
Yep. You're perfectly safe here, and I want to make sure you all have earplugs in.
I can't see that because I couldn't hear what you were saying.
Yeah.
Give me 20 seconds before action, okay?
Okay!
We were rolling with 3 cameras. We had 6 pounds of black powder for that explosion. When you were looking in the magazine, there were probably hundreds of pounds of explosives and black powder stored in there. And it just wiped out a third of the British forces.
We're waiting for smoke!
Here it comes.
Okay. Action! Cut! Very nice! The timing of it was really very good. I think they got the timing of that right, and they all did it. You know, I mean, it's as though the wave hit all of them. Yeah, very good.
Next one.
Yeah.
When that first explosion went off, I mean, I was astounded by it because I wasn't expecting a plume of fire and smoke to go 80 feet in the air. I just wasn't expecting that. And we were rolling with 3 cameras. When that thing went off, I mean, I was just like stunned. And I think it shocked everybody just how big that explosion was. The process of editing and sifting through, it's always a process of getting down to the real essence of the story, to that fabric that really makes up the story. The back and forth, the bouncing off of ideas. It's a huge process of collaboration.
It's the edit process that actually defines the cinematic art. It's the taking of all these raw ideas and raw visualizations and raw audio and funneling them into one artistic vision. You read through the script, you reference it to the visuals, and you get a basic idea of how the story is going to start happening. And then you start creating the individual moments, doing justice to the story that actually happened at the fort, and making it an entertaining action movie. It's not too often in the PBS realm that you get to make an action movie.
We start with a shooting script. We know what has to be said visually. But then after that, then you have your actual narrative script. And then it all comes together in the edit bay. So from start to finish, I mean, you don't know what the film is, you don't know what the story is until really late in the process. For this film in particular, I think Paul's the one who said it's a documentary that thinks it's a film.
You know, you want to be challenged, and this was definitely a challenge. You know, we made a war movie.
You know, we just really want this to be a film about the futility of war. The story of Fort Erie was really a microcosm of that bigger story of the Niagara Campaign, of that bigger story of the War of 1812. And you could tell all of those things in this one little tiny fort. And that's one of the beautiful things about producing for PBS, because you can find that little story.
In a desperate struggle, during a futile war, thousands would be lost. All in the heat of one glorious battle.